Hello, creative people. This is Catherine with A Motley Art, and we are in week 4, sketch 4 of She's Crafty mini pad class. If you'd like to see this sketch, I'm going to have a link to her video in the description box below that she will show you the sketch in her video. You really should check it out. So I'm still making my 6x6 layouts. I'm using 12x12 sketches. And this week it's all about hearts. And so I went ahead with the scraps that I had from last week and I just die cut out a couple of different hearts that I could just have on hand to use how I liked. I know I did more than I will probably use for this sketch, but I just wanted to have some different colors, some different textures, just to be able to figure out how I wanted to have these lay out. So I also brought out a couple of the wood veneers as well. That way it will also go very nicely with my first sketch that I did with this paper pad last week. So this is the Recollections Valentine's paper pad from several years ago that I'm trying to work through. So you can see here, originally my thought was to have these cascade kind of around the photo mat, but I play with it for a little while and I will end up deciding that I just don't like the way that's looking. So I kind of abandoned trying to get it onto that right side of the photo mat and end up just kind of coming down straight from the top to the bottom, which gives me a lot of die cut hearts left over that I can use for another project. A lot of times when I'm crafting, when I'm doing my scrapbooks or I'm doing greeting cards, I like to overcut my die cuts. You know, I cut more than what I think I'm going to need so that I have enough to play with. And then I take those extras and I usually do some smaller type items with them as well. So most of the time, a lot of my leftover scraps, I will do some ATC cards, which are 2.5 by 3.5 artist trading cards. And that's probably what I'm going to try to do with a little bit of the leftovers that I have from all of these sketches. After week 10, I'm probably going to make a few of the ATC cards. I just find this really a great way to use up those scraps, and then you can, send those or give those out to friends, other crafty friends if you want to. And then it's also, I like to make the ATCs because if I do end up deciding to give away these scrapbook pages, then I still have some of the paper left over, right, for myself. So I often make little books where I put my ATCs into those books so that I have still some of the papers that I love and I can look back on at another time. Because, a lot of times we do buy our paper pads with an idea of, I'm going to maybe use them for this type of project or that type of project. And if you do like a lot of greeting cards or even a lot of scrapbookings or mini albums, oftentimes you give those away, right? We end up making things that we like to give away and we're happy to give away. We want to share our art with other people. But when you purchase those papers, you purchase them because you really like the way they look. I mean, I think very rarely do we ever purchase a paper pad because we're like, I don't like this paper pad, but Becky will. We don't purchase that way. We purchase the papers that we like, and then we go, I want to make this item for my friend or my mother or whoever. And then you use that paper that you like, because if you like it, then there's a high probability that your friends and family are going to like it as well. So, but then I find once you've given those items away or you've sent out those greeting cards, you think to yourself, man, I really did enjoy that paper. I wish I still had some of it around. Or maybe it keeps you from making something for your mom or for your friends because you're like, I want to make them this type of item, but I don't want to get rid of this paper. I love it so much. I hate to give it away. So by taking the scraps, by taking some of the bits of the paper that you use and making ATC cards with them, you can keep that part and you can enjoy that part and feel good about giving away the items that you've made for other people so that you can share your craft and your art with other people. Because I really do love collaging in this type of method. Whether I'm going to put an actual picture on it or not, I just love to collage in a scrapbooking method. It's really fun to me. I always liked collaging when I was in school. Those were my favorite art classes, was when we got to just put together, just cut stuff up and stick it down and try to make our own artwork from it. And that's exactly what scrapbooking is to me. It's just collage art with a goal of also using the pictures that you take and having some memory keeping with that. So my photo mat is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 for a 3 by 3 photo. And I just went ahead and used some recycled chipboard to put on the back of it. And I did 2 layers so it'll have a little bit of dimension, a little lift. And I find this is about the same lift as my wood veneers that are on here as well. So that much volume, I don't have any problem putting that in a page protector. So if you like to use page protectors and that's where you put your scrapbook pages, you definitely can get a little bit of volume, a little bit of height on your items, and they will still fit in there just fine. I wouldn't go crazy about it. If you do too much, then you might have to put that into a frame. But a little bit like this, a little bit of chipboard, a couple layers of thin chipboard is not going to be a problem. Now, I did remember that I had some glitter paper cut out of really small hearts, and I really wanted to get something glittery onto this layout, because what is a Valentine's layout without a little glitter, a little sparkle on it? So I pulled those out and I kind of sprinkled them around. Again, getting the exact layout took me a few minutes. You can see I really kind of played around with it, kind of moved stuff around a few different times. But then you just at some point have to say, you know what, it's good. Let me just start sticking stuff down. And so that's what I did. I started sticking those down. And for the most part, everything on this sketch, I used the Tombow glue to put that on there. I do really like that glue. The only thing is, it's a very interesting glue if you haven't used it before, because if you put the glue down and don't stick your item to something, then it will become tacky and repositionable. So you just have to be careful that you don't use too much, because if you use a little too much, then you're going to have some little tacky parts on your scrapbook layout, because it doesn't actually ever dry all the way when it's exposed like that, unlike some other glues. But it does hold really well if you do glue it down straight away, and I just really like to use that type of glue. So I did have to put a little extra on that piece though, because apparently I did not get down as much as I thought I had, and it did not want to stay put. So I'm going to finish up here with these hearts, and then I'm going to pull out some velvet letter stickers. I have had these velvet letter stickers in my stash for quite a while, so I did pull this one out, which is, you'll see here in a few minutes, is a white one, and I also have some pink ones of the same size. And so I really, really wanted to try to get some of those stickers down onto this layout. And I did forget, but I had some more of those red pearls that I used in the last sketch, which I will try to put a card up here for that sketch from last week, so you can see what I did there and how this one really goes with it very nicely. And I'm just cutting off here the heart pieces of the heart that went over the 6x6 page. And so I'm done putting down those elements. And that's when I bring out the stickers. And I'm going to position them here down at the bottom first. I thought, it's a nice little empty spot. But once I get them, I just very lightly put them down so that they weren't really adhered yet. I realized that I just really didn't like them in the corner and decided to do them on the side, which is a little bit closer to the sketch. The sketch really had more of the title on the side, and so that's what I went with, the XO title for Hugs and Kisses. And that is the end of my layout. So thank you for watching my video, and you have a very crafty and creative day.